Hi everyone, and welcome to our video for Kai Play 2022. I'm Gloria, I'm a psychologist from Austria, and we're going to talk about LINA, a social augmented reality game around mental health, supporting real-world connection and sense of belonging for early adolescents.
This paper has 5 named authors: Gloria, who you've met, myself, Adam, Barnard, a practitioner rather than a researcher, and I'm the writer and director of the game LINA. Krammer, who is a psychologist who worked extensively on the sort of psychological background for the game. Diogo Martins, who is a brilliant young computer programmer, engineer, and João Dias, who is also a computer scientist and technical director of the project as a whole.
The idea for this game came from realizing the importance of sense of belonging for early adolescents, especially in a school setting, as so much is going on during that time: puberty, school transitions, new friends, new peer groups. And because technology plays such an important role for adolescents, we decided to use a blended approach of a mobile AR series game that helps with real-world connections and belonging in the classroom.
LINA is an augmented reality, immersive, interactive story that is played or experienced by an entire class and their teacher together in the classroom. And the basis of the game is that the young people and their teacher are playing fictional versions of themselves.
Hello, you're me. Well, you're not me, of course. You're you, but you're also me.
One of their classmates, a character called LINA, has suddenly and unexpectedly left for school. And the question is, why has she left for school? Where has she gone? And so it's a kind of mystery narrative, and players attempt to solve the mystery by using their smartphones to explore the classroom, which is where the augmented reality comes in, discovering objects and artifacts that LINA's left behind. And through looking at these objects, they start to piece together her story and find out what was really going on in her life. And it's a story around mental health and social well-being.
Sometimes a break, you'd see LINA holding this. I guess it was her diary. She wore the key on a string around her neck. One time somebody tried to grab it and LINA got really mad. This was LINA's locket. She got so stressed when she lost it. She wouldn't say what the letters FDD stood for, or why it was so important to her. There's a folded piece of paper inside the locket.
The main psychoeducational content comes from contact theory and stigma research, which says that you can enhance social belonging and reduce prejudice, especially for out-group members, by providing equal status between all group members, by cooperating, by having a common goal, and by appropriate authority support, in our case, the teacher.
The gameplay, as it unfolds, steers the players together. So they start off exploring on their own, but before long, they've found part of the clue and they need someone else in the classroom to solve this next clue and progress. And this is where the gameplay becomes collaborative. And this is where the contact theory comes into action, because it's about bringing people together, first in pairs, and then in groups, to collaborate, to solve puzzles, to work together in a constructive, cooperative way in order to progress the story and the narrative. And that actually culminates in a group needing to go to the teacher and exchange information with the teacher. And an important note about this actually is the teacher knows less than the young people. So the status, the traditional power hierarchy of the classroom is slightly inverted. And then at the very end, the entire class comes together as a group, because everyone has one page of LINA's diary. And only by coming together, forming a circle and reading it through in sequence, can they actually find out everything that's been going on. And what they discover at the end is that LINA has been living alone with her mother. And her mother has what we would recognize as depression. And that means LINA has to kind of fend for herself and deal with a lot of things herself. And it means that often she hasn't quite been prepared for what the schools needed, because maybe a message hasn't come through about something that was required. And that's culminated in her going to parents' evening instead of her mother, because her mother just couldn't. And the story has a happy ending.
Auntie Anya wants me and Mum to come live with her. Says there's enough room in her house, which means I can go back to my old school, to Samia, to everyone. Mum says she thought moving here would be a fresh start, but actually the best thing is to be near people who can look after us both while she gets proper help. She said I was the best daughter anyone could ever have.
I said it didn't matter if she was sad sometimes. She was still the best mum. I've decided not to tell anyone at school I'm leaving. Instead, I've got an idea. I'm going to...
So actually, Lina's moved on in a good, constructive way. And what she's done is she's left behind all this stuff to ask the class a question of itself, which is, did you really get to know me? And do any of us really get to know each other and understand the things in our lives that might be influencing our behavior with each other? And that's really what we want to leave the class thinking about.
One of the most fun parts about developing this game was the extensive co-development that we did with both adolescents and adults. We started co-development before the actual development. And so a lot of the creative ideas of adolescents found their way into the game. Here you can see how we transformed drawings of adolescents into AR objects. After the initial workshops, we continued to include adolescents in the development in an iterative process with a lot of play testing. We conducted an initial evaluation study with 5 classes and 91 early adolescents with both a quantitative questionnaire, the Guess 18 for usability, and qualitative focus groups. And both quantitative and qualitative results show the high acceptability of the game, especially concerning enjoyment and social connectivity. The one thing we can still enhance are technical bugs and flow. We also found initial qualitative results that the game is able to achieve its goal of enhancing belonging and social connectedness. But let's hear about that from early adolescents themselves. By the way, these are not scripted.
I found the game really good.
It was really good. It was amazing.
I found it was like really fun where you can work with each other and talk and do like interactive things.
It made me feel a bit more confident talking to different people in the classroom that I wouldn't usually talk to.
I believe that it builds communication skills, that you just get along with people more after it.
I usually didn't get along with many of the people in my tutor group, but now I feel like we just connected with each other again.
Obviously, augmented reality is still quite a new form. It's a very challenging form to work in technically. It took us a long time to get to the point where we had a prototype that worked and was stable enough. I hope this has been a really positive example of what can happen through an interdisciplinary collaboration. I think there's been experiments with using AR in a more personal or one-on-one setting, but less so in a group setting with a story around mental health and an intervention designed to improve mental health. What we've made is a prototype. It takes about an hour to play it. We'd like to make it into something that happens over multiple episodes, like maybe around 5 or 6 episodes. We would love to hear from you, love to hear any thoughts. There's an email address or there's the comments below. And finally, just to say thank you very much for watching and listening right through to the end.